Our next speaker, I texted her and I said, okay, what'd you do in high school? I know, she looks very athletic. She said, my mom said I was the biggest pain in the ass. That's literally what she said. She goes, I was a soccer player and our team lost every single game. That was her summary of her high school career. But at 16 years old, she had the biggest thing come into her life, and that's her husband, Kevin. Yeah, where's Kevin? 16 years old. He's the only one clapping. But then I asked her, I said, here she was, very successful agent, and this is going to happen to all of you. Now we're asking you, you're good at working with buyers, you're good at working with sellers. She's an unbelievable agent, but how do I attract agents? And she said, the first time I went to trying to recruit agents, what happened to me is I thought all I saw in their eyes was the look of, you're trying to recruit me. Does that happen to some of you guys? Right? Is that maybe in the back of your head? Because again, you've never been asked to attract agents to your company. She goes, that was my biggest fear. And she says, then I got over it. I got over it. Because she went, I looked at Veronica Figueroa, and she's shorter than me. If Veronica Figueroa can do it, I can do it. So from Raleigh, North Carolina, let's give it up for Tina Caul!
Thank you. I'm so blessed to be here. Woo! All right, guys. So I want you to imagine something. I want you to imagine going on vacation for 2 weeks with your family, and your phone doesn't ring once for business. Can I get an amen? I want you to imagine not eating breakfast, lunch, or dinner in your car on the way to appointments 3 to 5 days a week. That was my life. I want you also to imagine not being the top agent on your team, or worse, the only agent on your team. And I also want you to imagine going from one stream of income to possibly 10 streams of income in the next 3 to 5 years. So these were the things that I imagined when I was sitting in my car eating Taco Bell or all the crappy food that we eat as real estate agents, because there's really nothing fast that's good. And I used to think about, there's got to be a better way. There has to be a way that I can have that life. And then I got a great call from my friend Michelle Sayward, and she tried to convince me to come to EXP, and I was the biggest brat, like my mother said, and I said no 100 times. But after 6 months, we decided to come to this company. And the two things that I focused on in the last 3.5 years that I've been here were leverage and leadership. So today, I'm hoping that I can give you one little nugget that you can take away and start putting an actionable step into place to build that life that you want. Are we good with that? All right, let's do it. So for those of you who haven't met me yet and you're new here to EXP, I've been in the business now for 2 decades. I started at 23, I'm 44 years old, so I've seen the market shift a lot. And I always say I was the average of the 7 people that I was surrounded with in Michigan when I started my career, and they sold about 25 to 35 homes, and I was thrilled with that. I made $150,000 a year. I was the highest paid member of my family. It was wonderful, but then 2006 started to plummet, and by 2008 I had lost 70% of my income, and that just wasn't fun anymore. And so luckily for me, a magical fairy came into my life by the name of Mike Ferry. Who has worked with Mike Ferry before? Yep. And that magical fairy taught me that I didn't have to depend on the market to be a good agent. I just had to learn the skills, have discipline, and treat my business like a business. But the biggest thing that he taught me was the power of thinking bigger, right? Because a lot of us come from families that don't have a lot of money. In fact, money is a point of contention. And many of you think of the word money and you get a negative feeling in your body. And so what Mike taught me was that if you can do, if you can treat the business like a business, have a time schedule, come in, learn the answers that the sellers say to you, because guys and gals, there is no school for sellers learning new objections. They say the same thing over and over and over again, and we just need to learn the answers, right? And then we get more appointments. So from there, armed with this new knowledge, I decided with my husband, Kevin, that we were gonna move out of town. We were gonna leave Michigan because the wind hurts our face, and that's not fun 6 months out of the year, and we looked for sunshine. And we ended up in Raleigh, North Carolina. And when we landed in there, it was really wild because I didn't know where I was. I knew I could sell homes. I knew I could, come into the office every day, but I needed a GPS just to get out of the driveway. And so we ended up taking 30 listings, I think, that first year. Next year, 55. The year after that, 85. And finally, by the fourth year, we took 130 transactions, or sold 130 transactions, Kevin, myself, and one assistant. And that was amazing to us because when I met Mike, I wanted to earn $1 million. I wanted to see that on my tax return, all those little zeros, even though I didn't keep a lot of it, right? We kept maybe 650, 700, but it was great. It was an achievement in my mind. But doing that year 5 and year 6 and year 7, I realized that I didn't have a business. I had a high-paying job, a great job, right? I made $1 million a year. My God, boo-hoo, right? But the reality is I couldn't go on vacation. I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do because I was stuck on this hamster wheel. And it was a successful hamster wheel, but again, I knew there had to be a better way. So at the time, we were with RE/MAX for 9 years, great company, but I decided to move over to Keller Williams for a couple of years. Nothing really changed there. I kept hitting a ceiling at 72 million. I was the highest earning agent in my office, so I was teaching all the agents. And so then we landed at EXP. And when I landed at EXP, things definitely started to change. So let's go back to the past. I want you guys to think about this because I think a lot of you are going to fit in this box. When it was just me, I was doing all the jobs. The first 7 years, I was the listing coordinator. I was the buyer closing coordinator. I was the field worker. I put up signs and lock boxes, those metal signs in Michigan. I had to stomp on them because I'm like 110 pounds. Inspections, I had to set those up. I was the marketer. I was the sales trainer for myself. So could I do that? Could I do it well? Well, yeah, I could do it okay, but could I do it efficiently? The answer is no. And I am convinced, looking back, that I left millions and millions of dollars on the table because I was too afraid to grow. I was too afraid to hire people. So you've heard the saying, time is money. And my belief is exchanging time for money on a one-to-one transactional basis has a ceiling. For me, my ceiling was 130 transactions. I just couldn't do anymore. There was no more output left. My coach at the time sent me a little card, and I put it on my desk, and I used to look at that when I didn't want to prospect and I didn't want to pick up the phone. And basically the message was, nobody's coming. Nobody's coming for you. You have to do this. So if it's to be is up to me is still sitting on my desk today. But with the difference at EXP and my mindset shifting a little bit, I changed that little note card. And today, my new mantra is, if it's to be, it's up to we. And so, yes. That is a picture of my family, my work family, and there's 60 of us today at our group, and it's wonderful because I was able to take and monetize my brain, all the things that I learned, the life that I gave to ourselves and our family, and we're able to share it with all these wonderful people, and they're doing great. So, most of us become real estate agents. Why? Right? We leave our careers and we go, I don't want a boss. I want to work for myself. I'm going to be an entrepreneur, right? But what does that really mean? The definition is a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risk to do so. So pat yourselves on the back. You got into the business and you bet on yourselves first. So that was a huge risk. But I also believe there's 3 leverage pillars that people don't teach us when we come into the business. And these 3 leverage pillars are systems. So if you have a system for putting in a listing, a system for putting in a buyer transaction, a system for going on inspections, a system for closing, we're actually really good at systems because we're real estate agents. The second piece is tech. So I think Kyle Whistle has a new app that he shares with our group every week, right? Kyle is all about the apps and the technology. We get on Zooms, right? We do Zooms. Tony Robbins does Zooms with millions of people around the world. We know how to leverage tech. But the thing that we don't know how to leverage is people. And that's the thing that's missing in probably 80% of our businesses. So that's what we want to teach today. So what's the first secret sauce, the first magic formula in, in building your foundation, building your business. To me, the secret sauce is getting the right people on the bus at the right time. So it's knowing where are my weaknesses? What am I not good at? And then let me hire people that can help me leverage that. A lot of times when I'm coaching an agent, they'll say, I want to hire, I need help, I need leverage, I'm going to hire somebody. And the first thing they all think about is, let's hire an assistant. Who's heard that? Raise your hand. Yeah, let's hire an assistant. And assistants are amazing. I mean, I had one for the first, forever in North Carolina. But to me, if you're a producer and you're doing 20, 30, 40 transactions, let's say you do 50 transactions a year, an assistant's going to cost you about $50,000, a good one anyway. But if you hire a transaction coordinator for $400 or $500 a deal, you're going to spend about $19,000 or $20,000 on that transaction coordinator, right? So, and that's not a salaried employee that's looking at you saying, hey, Bob, did we sell a house today? I remember my assistant would come into the room and go, the board's looking empty. She wanted to get paid, right? So I was like, oh, God, I got to make some calls. I got to pay Kelly. So for me, the first person, if I go back and rewind my career, the first person that I would hire is not an assistant. The first person I would hire is a growth partner. And when I say a growth partner, it's the ISA. I know a lot of you have heard that word. It's thrown around loosely, an inside sales associate. Now, I want you guys to be honest, because I know a lot of you in this room, so don't lie. Who has the tenacity to get into their office every single day and prospect for 2 hours to 3 hours a day, every single day, Monday through Friday? Raise your hand if you do that. There's literally like 5 of you. And I know that's true, because the worst thing that a real estate agent wants to do is pick up the phone and get rejected every day. We're in a relationship building business. We love people, we collect them, right? And so nobody wants to get rejected. So if you're not the growth partner, and you're not the ISA, because you suck at it, because obviously you all just did to be honest, who's growing the business, right? So if you hire that person, which is about $2,000 a month, 5% override on all the deals that they make, do you think that when you are done prospecting, if you actually do prospect, that person calling your database, that person calling your leads, right? Because we're supposed to call our leads 7 times, text them, do war dialing, which we don't do either, right, if we're being honest. Do you think your business would grow if you had a growth partner on your side? Yeah, so that's what I would have done differently. So eventually what will happen is you're going to see that growth partner is going to make you more appointments. And they're going to be like, hey, Bob, I made you 3 appointments this week. Did you go take the listing? And Bob's like, oh, my God, I have too much business. I can't handle these appointments. And that's the trigger that you know, oh, my God, I have a real business. I have opportunity. I can hire agents now. I can bring them into my fold, and I could say, hey, I have appointments. You don't even have to prospect on my team. I mean, you do, but let's just say you take that pain point away, right? Because you're offering a service. If you're building a business and I'm bringing in a partner and we're saying 50-50, we're going to split this. I built this machine. You're just going to come in and service the customers, and I'm going to give you half of the deal. We have people signing up for that all day. Most people don't want to build a huge empire business. So that is where it's time to build on that growth partner, because now you can finally have something to offer. So that's my amazing partner, Mackenzie. So TD, wherever you are in this room, she helps me run our team, right? And so we have now 60 agents. We're going to do 1,000 transactions this year. But my biggest thing that I hear when I'm talking to an agent, I want to grow a team, I'm exhausted. Okay, so you're exhausted in running this business over here, 30, 40, 50 transactions or more. And now you're going to go hire a bunch of people and try to build a team. I mean, think about that. Would you go open a coffee shop right now with the time that you have, manage it, order the coffee, manage the people, do the marketing? You'd all go, I don't have time to open a new business. But that's what opening a team is. You're opening a new business. And so a lot of leaders fail that I've seen because we're part-time leaders. So I was at least smart enough to know that I would suck as being a leader, and I would stink at saying, did you make your calls? Because I'm self-motivated. So if an agent's not making their calls, I'm like, do your job, just make your calls. Most of us team leaders are terrible. We're terrible leaders for other people. And we have to notice that. Mackenzie is an amazing leader. She's patient, she's kind, she's a saint, and she can motivate people in a different way than me, right? So we're a good match. So don't be a part-time leader if you're thinking about joining a team. Use some of the money that you have coming in and, and buy back some of that time, right? So I thought this slide was gone, but it's here. All right, so today we're 62 agents. We have 1,000 transactions, but thinking about leverage, we also grew our EXP team, right? That's a lot of people on a team that we're managing, and these people have grown to over 1,000 now in the network, which we're so, so proud of. Yes, yes. All right, so the message is we work hard, right? I think real estate agents are the hardest working agents. We don't know how to turn it off. We're great at customer service. We're always on. We function at a high stress level, and that's not good, but we're just good at our job. We work hard, but the key is for you guys to buy back some of the time. Use the money that you're making in real estate, buy back that time, and put together great leaders if you're looking to join or build a team, because you never want to be stuck having one stream of income. So most millionaires, most multimillionaires know that they need 7 or more vehicles of income to grow their wealth. They know their net worth. So the question is, how many do you want? Because I know Tony Robbins, I think last I heard he had like 100. He was part owner in 100 businesses. Last but not least, before we get to this slide I wasn't going to put on because I think some of the people in this room might look at it and go, oh God, she's just telling us how great she is and what her and her husband built in the last 4 or 5 years. And that's not the goal. The goal is I want you guys to think about me as just this little Greek girl that came from a poor family, that had really good work ethic, that took 20% of everything I learned at all of these conferences, because I've been to probably 150 in the last 12, 15 years. I took away a 20% of what I learned and I moved it into action. And so this next slide is to inspire you to go from 1 stream of income to potentially 10. And know that some of these things we did 10 years ago, right? I think I heard Jarek say that most people overestimate what they can do in a year, they underestimate what they can do in 10. So I want everybody to think of your age right now. Don't lie to yourself, your real age. Add 10 years. I hope this next slide will inspire you to know that this could happen to you. You just have to take intentional action. So we went from 2 streams, which really was 1 stream, so that's a lie, to 10 streams of income. So last year our team had 24 agents on it. We sold 514 transactions. We net $1.2 million take home for our team, and I didn't sell one of those houses. So that's a real business, guys, right? Thank you. Been here for 3.5 years with EXP, and we've earned $1.055 million in revenue share total in those 3.5 years. So thank you, Glenn Sanford. Our stock guide 10 years ago said just take 10, 15% of your income. You're not even going to know that it's gone. Just stick it in these little accounts, right? These American funds or whatever. I know nothing about stock, but I do know that it grew on an 8% yearly average. Of course, it's down right now, but we're not looking at it. This is a long-term play. So start scraping away and paying yourselves first. This really matters. There's over 700,000 in there. The gifts from EXP, my gosh, we bought a rental property with it. So our stock's gifted for production, attraction, investments, $400,000 worth of stock, so because of EXP Realty. One of my friends owns 25 rental properties, all paid for, and she inspired me to start investing, and so we bought our first property several years ago. Now we have 11 properties, and we make $3,000 a month passive income, but think about that. We had to invest over $500,000 to make $3,000 a month passive. And here at EXP Realty, if you bring 6 agents that are cappers, which is what, 2.7 million in volume, they sell 5, 6 homes a year. You bring 1 agent to the company, that's the equivalent of owning 1 rental property. And guess what? Their furnace doesn't break. Their roof doesn't leak. They might be annoying, but that's okay. No, I'm just kidding. So 6 agents who bring 6 agents, guys, $3,000 a month in passive income. We don't think about these things till we're sitting in our car dripping sauce all over stuff, right? And we all have nice cars. So that's a great investment, but it's a long-term hold. When we pay off all those homes, whether EXP is around or not for us in 20 years, that's a plan to exit, right? You've got syndication deals. I learned this from a great EXP agent here, Mark Z. And we got involved in syndications, which are group investment funds. That's another $4,000 a month. Kyle Whistle was the he helped me with affiliate agreements. He said, Tina, every time you're on YouTube and you're talking about something and you say RedX or you say, you know, Espresso Agent or you say SalesX Training and people sign up, those companies will pay you for that advertisement. You're drawing people to their company. Why aren't you getting paid? And I said, I didn't know you could, right? So now we get checks and Kev's like, what the heck is this from? I said, I don't know, YouTube or something. So. And then, of course, we get our referrals, right? We live in Raleigh, North Carolina. If anyone has a referral, send it our way. But, you know, that's a huge thing for EXP agents. Go on to Workplace. Get to know your fellow agents. Like their stuff. Collaborate. If you see that most of your business is coming in from California, talk to those agents. And then coming soon is the thinking bigger, right? Mackenzie and I talked about coaching, right? We could do coaching. We could make extra money doing coaching or team building or whatever, guys. But just think about all the different ways that you guys can monetize that amazing knowledge in your brain. Learn how to be better leaders. And if anyone needs help doing any of these things, reach out. Love you all and so blessed to be here.